Bonjour. Right, another 6 of the best this week. Not as manic, I've got to admit this week, not as manic as the past couple of weeks. There's been like 10, 12 titles, so at least a little bit calmer this week, but nevertheless I've got six great ones for you. A couple I've done before, but bear with me. This, I did do issue 1 of this, issue 2 of this. This is absolutely beautiful. When I show you inside the colouring, if you're not picking this up, and it's Scotty Young writing it, and he's really enjoyed himself, and him matched up with Humberto Ramos's artwork, I've got to admit, it's only 2 issues so far, but I'm really loving that. And I picked this up this week. It's an issue 2, Briar from Boom Studios, Briar, little fantasy tale. Again, it's got that European feel. German Garcia, the artist on it, is bringing it. I'm assuming he's Hispanic stroke American. So that was issue 2, which I picked up this issue 1 variant cover that Paul, as always, at Comics and Fantasy in Hornchurch, Essex, sorted me out. Thank you, Paul. I'm just Stephanie Hans done the cover on that issue 1, glorious. I had to pick this up. Who don't like a little bit of Planet Hulk? Who don't like a little bit of that? And it does not disappoint. We're going to have a look at it. This was really impressed with, but Jeff Johns, a bit like with Mark Waid, the bloke, you know, the guy, and backed up with the artwork inside as well, you know it's going to do exactly what it says on the tin. Love it, Jeff Johns. And like I say, but I'm saying that I'm not much of a DC fan, but I'm picking up more DC books, I've noticed, which, in all fair play to them, their books are working for all of their, you know, particularly the back books. But I've got to say, I'm picking. It seems like I'm steadily picking up a few more DC than I ever used to. So, you know, kudos to them to reach where Marvel might be slacking a little bit on some of their classics, which I would be picking up 100%. I'd be picking up a ton of Marvel, but I'm not, and I'm picking up more DC and more independent. But that's a topic for another day. We won't go there. But having said that, I'm getting into the Star Wars, the Marvel Star Wars stuff. This was an unusual one. You know what I'm like for the artwork, and it was a manga style. With, like, you know, the Visions is all about doing something a little bit different, so I loved it. Last issue of Absolution, and boy did they go out in style. Look at this fantastic cover that they've done like an old movie poster. Now I know it is a trope that's often done, but they've even done the folds, but we'll have a closer look at that in a minute. They've even done the folds as if a movie poster's been unfolded, slapped on the front, which I really did like. That's the 6 of the best we're going to be having a little look at in detail. And there's a couple more, just little shout outs for a couple more comics that I really enjoyed this week. Damn them all, issue 2. And as always, like I'm saying about these back books, but there's one little, and this as well, the annual. I've really been enjoying this latest run with this team on but I enjoyed this. But what I am going to say is this is an annual. Now surely this should be a showcase. This should be a back book for non-regular readers to pick up, like annuals used to be. They would be maybe the best of. I mean, in England, it would include reprints sometimes of what's been printed during the year, etc., etc. What I found, I enjoyed this because I'm picking up all the back book, or a lot of the back books at the moment, right? But what I did find irritating is that all this annual is, so-called annual, is the prequel to the Detective Comics 1067. Now I'm not going to go into this one in detail, just for that reason, to be fair, because, and I'm not putting anyone off of it. This is just really a moan at DC Comics, because that should have been a standalone for anyone that's just thinking I might want to get into the back books. It should have been a kind of taster for Detective Comics, the series, if anything, this is me, my pure personal opinion, I just was a little bit irritated at the end of it to find that all this was where it should have been something a little bit special once a year. It's an annual. Oh no, what we decided to do is an extra long story that leads into the, and I'm sure that the people in sales and marketing are saying, oh yeah, that's great, you know, we're going to hook them in, we got them to buy. No, it's the exact opposite, because you're going to be put off, because people trying to dip their toe back in maybe, or think, you know, I want just a one-off story, I want a beginning, middle, end, are going to flick to the end and go, oh, here we go again, continued in Detective Com. Now I've got to buy, now I haven't got the old story, and it's cost me, whatever the cover price of this is, $5.99. For $6 I haven't even got a complete story, and you're telling me I've got to buy more. That's what graphic novels are for. So sorry I've had a little rant, but it just irritated me. And you know I focus on all the good stuff, and like I say, I will say it one more time, that isn't a bad book. It's a new artist on it. I didn't write his name down. There is a new artist on it that's done most of it, because it's in a flashback. But you've got Albuquerque and who normally does it, Hayden Sherman. So it's Christopher Mitten, Raphael Albuquerque who does the normal ones, Hayden Sherman, Lee Luffridge the colourist. Funny enough, he's the colourist on Absolution, and does a fantastic job on that. So like I say, rant over. I won't go into it, but what I will do is go into the 6 of the best this week in detail after the scroll. Here we go. So this is the star of the show this week. This is an absolutely beautiful comic. Absolutely. All down to, I mean, Scotty Young on the writing duties. You're never going to go wrong. Humberto Ramos. Together though, and I know I've done issue 1 of this, but I just want to go through and how fun this is. I mean, we know Scotty Young, it's all the youngsters. We know the setup. It's all the youngsters, all the young kind of from the magic side of Marvel. Let's just call it that. And I didn't realise, even in issue 1, you know, I was praising this, but what a dream team they are, really. Scotty Young. But this is quite a light-hearted kind of, they're fixing up the academy, doing different jobs using their powers, you know. Oh, all of the shtick. Look, they even get the job of doing the toilets, and it's like, oh my Hogoth, you know, by the hoary halls of Hogoth, you know. That's a throwback to Doctor Strange from the 60s, believe it or not. Which I love as a geekyOlhog. But look, they've got to use their third eyes to pick out the bacteria. But what I want to point out, look, the characterisation, this is Ramos's best stuff, and I know Scotty Young is really getting into his stride on writing duties, you know, rather than doing his creator-owned driven stuff, which is glorious. Don't get me wrong, and his one-off cartooning. But I just want to point out how beautiful the colouring is on this, and it's Edgar Delgado on the colouring. Now, pages like this, it might not seem like the colouring is playing an important part, but it so is. Sometimes it's on the, especially when you've got darker skinned characters, even furry characters, the colouring is, I don't know, it just embellishes it. For me, it livens up these pages so much. I mean, even the detailed, you know, white, red, yellow, orange on that, just on that one character. Right, here's the staples. We're midpoint, and it's been quite light-hearted up to this point in the comic. But look, you can't tell me like these ain't the bad guys. Do you see what I mean about the storytelling in this? I like, you know, even down to the lettering, the different. Look how moody is this? Just for one panel, the last panel, the page turner. This is what I mean about graphic storytelling. look how nice the colouring gets in these moody night scenes. And it might appear, look, none of this is easy. Every part of this needs thought, and it gets better and better. Look, again, a night scene. You know, you think of a film that's set in a night scene, and there's certain colours you want to show. Look at this. This is wonderful. The shadows falling from the light source in there. I thought this was absolutely glorious. And it's only issue 2. I'm pretty sure you can pick up an issue 1 from somewhere. But get these first couple of issues. Also, the story is Scotty Young. It is good. Like I say, at midpoint, he changes it up. And it gets, look at this beautiful stuff. I think this is the best stuff that Ramos has done. Together with Delgado doing the colouring. I'd love to see, I know I keep saying it, but I would love to see what kind of artwork the colourist needs to see. You know, this is just quite classic and traditional, I assume. But every panel is full. It's full of artwork and full of colour. I could not, me personally, could not ask for more. And then ends up like this. Look, I just absolutely think that is stunning. That was my winner for the week, that one, definitely. Well worth the $3.99 cover price on that, I tell you. Then obviously the other one out this week is Briar, issue 2. But I just want to show this beautiful cover off for issue 1. Which, like I say, Paul got me Comics and Fantasy, and that's Stephanie Hands. But the main artist on this is Germain Garcia. Now I don't know what the what's it on his A means, but anyway, Germain, and Christopher Campbell on the writing. Now this is an issue 2. The which is not. It's obviously a fantasy story. Okay, guys. It's obviously a fantasy story. We're straight issue 2. We're straight in the start of it. We don't need no telling. This is the Wicked Witch, and it's quite classic setup stuff, but it's done in a refreshing enough way. I can see why this. You know, it is all classic Quest stuff. From issue 1, I won't go through issue 1. I'll just go through this week's issue 2, because this is where the story is ramping up, and our main character, who's been resurrected from her slumber, and the world has changed, and it's a bit more evil, a bit more grim. Look, this is. I thought that was really nice, and so evocative of an evil swamp or a moody swamp, whatever you want to call it, but such a kind of European. I know I keep saying that about a lot of these artists now, but I like it. And it is a very economical style, relying heavily on the colourist, which is why I'm always giving a shout out for the colouring. And Mateus Lopez is the colourist on this, because you can't not notice the colouring anymore in a comic. It's not just a flat flesh tone on a face and a flat background and a bit of yellow and orange and a fire. Those days are gone. You know, the colourists nowadays, that, you know, I know that some of these books do say colour artists. Andwell Design did the lettering as well, which is standout. You know, but like I previously mentioned, I can't give everyone, you know, just tiny bits like this. You know, if you're going to do a night scene, all right, with your purples, but, you know, bringing in this beautiful colour, just those little details is what's going to light this little bit of a Dutch angle. We know he's in for it because the bad guys turned up. It's all classic stuff. This is all classic stuff, but it's got a nicely new, fresh view on it, which was enough for me to warrant picking it up. And it does drift off. Different characters were introduced to this character in this issue. You know, the bad guys in pursuit. We don't see him until the beginning of this issue. We don't see him in issue 1. So the bad guys in pursuit. So it's the storyline is really ramping up in this issue. It's all character driven stuff, obviously. You know, it's not full of action packed, but there's enough. You know, there's enough daring do, etc. in it. You know, the bad guys wreaking havoc, as you can see. And that's it. We're off. We're off and running in issue 2. Now, I'm just going to point out one thing that Boom Studios is doing, the same as Image. Guys, just give us a blurb on the back. Don't waste these back covers with this. As beautiful as a design as this is, give us a bit of a blurb. So if I am picking up an issue 2 or 3 or 4, whatever issue it is, give me the story so far. If you don't do it there, do it here. There's plenty of room. I don't know why. I know they're obviously thinking of graphic novels and packaging them up, but come on, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt anyone to just do that. And I know it's a little gripe of mine, and I mentioned it before. Now, I found this one irresistible to pick up. Not only is this a great cover, I thought this was an awesome cover, but Greg Pak back doing Planet Hulk, I've got to have it. It's not the most dynamic art style. Art style is great. Manuel Garcia on the pencils, Cam Smith on the inks. So they're always a great team. And bringing us up to speed a little bit. I don't know if I've missed out on stuff or whether or not they're just, you know, what's going on in a way. But they very quickly bring me up to, and you're in the story. You're in the story, and it's about Sakaar in the future and all that, and it's got enough things going on. You don't really see the Hulk in this issue, but I've got to admit, it sets up the future storyline nicely enough. I thought anyway, with all the new tricks that they're going to be bringing to the table in this story. I really did think it was nice. I liked how they used the reds in this scene. It's got nothing to do with Red Hulk or anything like that, but I just thought it was nice for one page to lead us in and then, you know, as a page turner, bring us back. I thought anyway. Some nods, some throwbacks to the old stuff. I think they just packed in enough nostalgia bait and enough new bits. I mean, these, you know, here come the Sentinels kind of thing, and then to be continued. And I know there's quite a quick run through. There's a little, and that's because there's a little backup story in here, you know, about Scar. She-Hulk turns up, and I just thought that was nicely done. Greg Pak writes that, and actually I didn't make a note of who did the art, and it's quite a nice art job. I don't know whether it's a newcomer, whether they're testing them out, or Ramon F. Bax, Chris Samatea on the colouring, but that was nicely done. Scar, Son of Hulk, and that's a little one-off. That was a little self-contained, or not self-contained, but like, well, either or, which I thought was nicely done. Now this, Jeff Johns writing superheroes. You know, like I keep saying, I'm not the biggest DC fan, but if you get Mark Waid or Jeff Johns writing your superheroes, then you're in for a treat. Mikel Janin on the art, and good old Jordi Belair, who is you know, consistently a good colourist for DC and others. I just thought this artwork was beautiful, and the colouring. Look at this scene. Yeah, look at this scene. 2 dots of light at the top, and here we go. That, you know, that is an artist in its own right. That Jordi Belair, and a lot of the other colourists I mentioned. But set in the future. This is the daughter of Batman and Catwoman, and that's all I'm going to tell you. Here's old Solomon Grundy. Look how nicely done that is. Now I know it's that kind of that inverse silhouette kind of effect, but I just thought it's just a nice effect to just. This is what comics are. This is how good it can be. You know, extreme close up. then you can do this inverted silhouette. Oh, I really love the cinematic style of the artwork. To be fair, it really did. I was really impressed. And then we're back to the, you know, more of the story. To be fair, but it wasn't heavy. It was enough, you know, bringing the characters in, and they're bringing the characters in, basically to kill them all off in inventive ways. You know, a little bit of prehistory there. You know, a little bit of a newsreel. But all of the things, all of your tools thrown into it. Never really seen Power Girl done in this, her character done in quite this way. And again, the colouring here, what an unusual. This is really unusual choice, but I liked it. I just did. It just drew me in somehow. I really enjoyed it. And then, you know, obviously you can leaf through this comic in the shop and get all this. It's just really nicely done. Very, very nicely done. And I won't give too many spoilers away. I'm going to leave it here. And about, you know, when this guy turns up with the gun, I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to spoil this comic for you. But I do thoroughly recommend that. It's a nice issue 1. New Golden Age. Obviously it's riffing off of a lot of things that have been going on in the DC universe up to date, which I am not privy to, but nevertheless I really enjoyed that. I really did. Now this weird little baby, I really, yeah, I'm gonna say I enjoyed it. Because of its weirdness. Now I know the visions. I know you kind of know what to expect before you turn the page with the visions. It's always going to be a different vision. The clue is in the title. But I really enjoyed the manga style of this. Look at that. And it's basically just a lone wolf and cub kind of effect, kind of thing going on here. And I just really enjoyed it. Just one creator's take in a manga style in the Star Wars universe. And one's a Jedi and one isn't. They've both got lightsabers and they meet some bad guys. This reminded me of early Brendan McCarthy inventiveness with weapons and the face masks and all that. Brendan McCarthy, British artist who went on to do Mad Max Fury Road designs. But all of this is classic manga stuff, and it does remind me 100%. And he's not look at all the guns coming out here, look. Don't shoot the droid. And then, you know, that's the only bit of colour you see. This is just really nicely done. You can tell all the manga tropes coming along here, and how wonderful it is when there isn't a lot of dialogue, which is, you know, going along that manga trope. I know, and it's all the better for it. All the better for it. Look, just so nice, dragging us in, just a little passage of time, you know, with a little beep from a droid. This classic Star Wars stuff, but then we're back to the manga, that like the manga kind of trope of it all, and drinking sake. Yeah, it was a breath of fresh air, really. This book. Here we go. You know, this is a little bit of backstory about Ulo, getting in as much Star Wars characters as we can. Look, nice. I really did enjoy this, and what I also enjoyed is that it is a one-off little story of these two characters. They might go on into other comic books, I don't know. I just bought this comic, read this story. It was a great one shot, and I even enjoyed it with Ewoks in it. And if you've seen any of my previous other videos or hogcasts, you will know how much I detest these characters. But they didn't spoil this story. They're only in 3 panels, so I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow it. Drinking more sake. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna be a bit tentative with the, but obviously you're getting a good impression here of how nice the artwork is. If you like the manga style, that is to say. If you don't, then no, this isn't a comic book for you. This is just great sequential art. Look, that's his hair there. We've just got that shot of behind this character and this conversation and you can tell what's going to happen. This is like in a spaghetti western or in a Akira Kurosawa, sorry. And I will leave it there because otherwise I'm going to spoil the nice little ending to it. But again, I'm enjoying these. I'm picking up. I'm trying out this Marvel Star Wars stuff, and I've got to say, I'm looking forward to picking up a few more. To be fair, yeah. And as promised, let's have a look at this cover. Look at this. They've put so they've done the classic kind of movie. This isn't anything that hasn't been done before, is it? I know, but I don't know. I just love the addition of the folds. I really did. And I know you could call it a cheap trick, but these guys, Mike Diodato Jr. and Lee Luffridge, who's doing the colouring, and again, a spectacular colouring job. I mean, I know how much I gushed about Edgar Delgado on Strange Academy, but the colouring job this guy does on this, Mike Diodato Jr., yes, I am a fan. I know he's kind of heavily using some kind of photographic, software to do his artwork because obviously we've got Woody Harrelson, like quite clearly, but this style just suits this story, and it really does. Peter Milligan. He has really. I know I've reviewed this comic before, but this is the last issue. And it is such a worthy ending, like a properly good ending, that he leaves the tiniest of threads. He could, there could be a volume 2, big wide shot. They've done this kind of modern, I would say cinematic, but I don't think it's that. They're going for a kind of smaller, I think, for me anyway, with these panels. I see this more as watching it almost like scrolling through your mobile phone, and that's the shtick they're going for in this, and getting the bits in the background, or maybe on your laptop and you're getting bits in the background and you're getting snippets of news. A very modern way of kind of conveying your story, pushing your storyline along. Look at this. These are great. It's great stuff, and then you go from kind of some photorealism into just a classic piece of drawn artwork, or it looks like drawn artwork. That looks like a photo that's been coloured. But I've loved that. I have loved how it's been done. How they've achieved it. Then Bruce Willis turns up. Bruce Willis turns up. Here we go. Look. He's going to die hard or go home. And again, because this is the last episode, I'll just kind of leave it here on 2 pages of artwork with Bruce Willis talking to our main character. Absolution scores. This is what it's all been about. An audience following her, scoring points, trying to redeem herself. And what a great job Peter Milligan's done. If you can get the graphic novel of this, I picked up a few graphic novels at Baltimore Comic Con from AWA, and they are thoroughly worth having a look at. AWA, just look out for that logo and pick up some, and they're very, very reasonable priced, I found as well. And you can search them out. I'm not going to waffle on too much and go through them, but I just thought that is a worthy issue 5 of a 5-issue mini-series, and it makes a tight graphic novel. If you don't want to pick out all the 5 individual issues. And just the last two, just for a quick mention, obviously that I've already spoken about, and you know my feelings on it, but nevertheless it is well done. It's a great book. You know, if you're a completist, or all I think is it's just for completists. I mean, I'm picking up Detective Comics every month now, and I bought this, but I thought it was going to be, DC could have done a lot more with that. Charlie Adlard on this book, Damn Them All. I've reviewed it before. This stuff is where modern, you know, where you can get modern comics to go. And Simon Spurrier and Charlie Adlard, I'm just going to have a quick flick through this just to show you some of this. Again, this is issue 2, and some of the, you know, where it's all about, it's a bit more, you're getting into sorcery and, you know, spirituality stuff in this, and where they're just adding these effects, I thought was really nice, really nicely done. But I won't go through all that because I've done my 6. Again, come on Boom, come on Image, come on everyone who wastes this back cover. It's not wasted if you're going to put adverts on the back. That's not a wasted back cover. If you're going to earn thousands of pounds or dollars advertising on the back of your comic, that's fine. But if you've got a free back cover, this is issue 2, why not tell us about issue 1 and what we can expect from inside? Just to help, you know, just get new readers in, man. But nevertheless, this is a good, that's just my minor little, I might keep banging on about it until I get 1 million subscribers and someone from you know, Boom and Image and everyone starts taking notice of little old me. But in the meanwhile, I will leave it there, and I'm going to leave it on these two. I just think that's a fantastic piece of artwork by Stephanie Hands, and this by good old Humberto Ramos. And Edgar Delgado on the colouring, just superb. You just got to take a minute to breathe that in, the colouring job on this, taking nothing away from Humberto Ramos, and that just all together, what a stunning, just great comics, just 6 of the best great comics this week. And on that note, thank you for watching and listening, if you're still here. And I will bid you until next time, adios.